I had him in first grade, and he's running for mayor. So for George Prince.
Thank you. That was a long time ago. I was amazed because I heard her name was Mary, and I could hear her voice. And I had to ask her what her last name was, and sure enough, this is my first grade teacher, Mary Schindler from Solway School. It's a very small world.
He didn't speak English.
What's that now? Remember when I was telling you when I came here, I didn't speak any English? This is my first grade teacher.
And he did very well. It's amazing.
To be perfectly honest, obviously I've known about homelessness and had some level of education on it, but not to the extent that I felt that I needed. And so I embarked on a journey to really study the problem. You know, I really started with the People's Church because as I studied the issue, time and time again, everything that I looked at would bring me back to Bob Kelly and the People's Church. And certainly there have been positive and negative things and everything in between written about it, but I don't trust those kinds of sources. I want to go there for myself. I want to meet Bob Kelly. I want to hear what he has to say. I want to meet his church. I want to meet the people that are there utilizing his services. So that's what I intend to do, and I'm looking forward to it. Am I a little nervous? Of course. I'm stepping into a situation that I don't know that much about. But I generally tend to believe that when you sit down and people can see that you're genuine and that you have a genuine interest in what's going on with them, they open up and they share with you. And so I'm looking very much forward to my visit at the People's Church.
Yep, I know. I do too. I do too. This is a sinner's church, and if you're not a sinner, you should get out of here because this ain't going to be for you.
So let me ask you this, what is the current state of your relationship with the city of Bemidji in terms of how you interact with the city?
I don't know. I think it's okay. I think that politically they have decided that it's better to leave us alone. To my knowledge, we're still in civil disobedience. We were at a cease and desist order from the city manager to stop overnight hospitality, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, and he didn't have the courage to enforce that order.
So if I understand this correct, and correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, the reality is that you're providing overnight shelter to a large group of people who wouldn't have it otherwise. And the reality is if they didn't have that overnight shelter, especially in the winter, many of them would perhaps not be alive. Right?
They could easily perish, and
So the city's willing to overlook its ordinance rules because they don't want the consequences of that.
well, I'm not sure that they're that kind-hearted. I think that they're very political, and they, at the moment, since the two men died on the streets last summer, and it received a great deal of publicity, which Mike Braden and Upstream TV helped propagate, and Justin Glaw, an attorney, or not an attorney, but a reporter who was here, who was aghast that these men died on the street, and there was so little mention of it in the newspapers and in the public discussion of the community, that he took it upon himself to write a 3-page or a 3-section article, 3-piece article about the homeless problems, and we were mentioned prominently in those articles. And we knew both of those men very well. They had stayed with us on and off for years. Butch Ryan had actually come out to my farm and lived out there for one 6-month stretch of his life. So we knew these guys very well. Very personal for us. You know, they weren't just mysterious lowlifes that perished on the streets. They were our friends.
They were people.
Yeah, they were our friends.
So what would you say is your greatest need? I mean, obviously I've seen a good number of people here with a variety of different needs, even today as they were visiting with you. So if you were looking at, you know, how do you make the People's Church better? How do you put it in a place to help more people? Besides the obvious, more money, I mean, what else does that look like?
Well, it looks like leadership from the top that begins to say to the community that these problems are problems that a civilized community, a prosperous community, needs to be taken care of.
So as I've traveled the campaign road and studied the issue of homelessness here in Bemidji, what I've really learned is what a complex problem it is. You know, people end up homeless for so many different reasons. Everything from losing a job to losing transportation, to getting out of an abusive situation, to poor life choices, to alcohol dependency, to mental issues. The list goes on and on and on. So when you say, hey, we want to make a positive impact on homelessness, it's very difficult to have one cure-all solution that fixes all of those problems because of all of the causes. But one thing, you know, that I can tell you is simply because you don't understand the full problem doesn't mean that you shouldn't take steps to try to do what you can do with the folks that are placed in front of you. And definitely, as I've talked to the citizens of Bemidji, I know nobody's interested in reading in the Pioneer that homeless people froze to death. That's not what we want to see in our community, and I know that. But how do we intervene? How do we help? How do we do it in a way that matters, and in a way that people can come together over, and in a way that's financially responsible? How do we do all of those things? And I know that as far as my ability to impact things, I'm just on the front end. But I do know that it begins with bringing people together, and it begins with having a discussion as a community about what we can do, and do it in an open and honest way, and engage as many people as we can so that the results can be positive ones. They can be ones that can matter. They can be ones that will actually impact people. And maybe next winter, maybe this winter, we don't have to read that anyone froze to death.
Lord, you know, the Garrison Keeler Prairie Home Companion mentality doesn't allow. Okay, it takes leadership. Somebody's saying, this is what's important. This is what's important. I mean, all these other things are important too. Really, I get it. But we will not be judged by our coliseums. And people want a safe experience with homeless people. They want, you know, they don't want to get sick. They don't want to get dirty. You know.
They want to have a 100% success ratio.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's all this.
Doesn't work that way.
Yeah. And it's another thing that is really often not talked about in terms of the Christian tradition. It's ridiculous why they don't, but it's the way of the cross. It's the way of the cross. Serving people is hard, dirty, disappointing work much of the time, but it's the only show in town.
I have another one in my truck.
George is gonna come across. I'm just here to help.
So today is going to be our second ward picnic that we're doing for wards 1 and 3, and we're holding it at Diamond Point Park, which is just a beautiful place on the point, and I'm very much looking forward to it. The weather today has not been very cooperative. It's been gusty, it's been dark, so you just don't know exactly what you're going to get for attendance. But that said, the volunteers are out here with me. They're working hard, they're putting things together. And I definitely believe that we're going to have an opportunity to have some good discourse today. So despite the weather, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm excited to see who comes out today.
pretending like you're not there so it looks more natural.
Ready to set sail or what?
I think so. Fired up.
So today we're probably 3 weeks out from the election, and everything is funneling to a vote. And I have so many people talking about George and Rita, Rita and George, and you know, for me, that's never what it's been about. It's always been about the people of Bemidji. It's always been about creating a community that comes together, where our talents mesh and we can be more than the sum of our parts. And I'm just so excited about that opportunity, and I'm looking forward to the election. And I'm looking forward to being elected because I want to be that kind of leader. I want to be that person that unites our community, sets people free, gives people opportunities, and allows us to go out and be everything that our community can be. And I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the 4th, and I just can't wait to get there.
Hey, George, I got a vote for you because you don't live in town.
10 years. My family is the only Mexican food closer. That was pretty interesting. It's a very...
You're running for mayor? Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Ashley. Just thought we would come, and we're not quite sure. I'm not sure who I'm voting for, but I just thought I would come and
Well, you know, yes, he was. You tracked for the election.
We'll be watching you.
All right. Nice to meet you both. Take care. So how are you? Good. Not in the campaign mode, which is good and bad.
So here we are. Today is our 4th annual Vendor Appreciation Day, and we've been doing these every year for as long as we've actually been able to afford doing them, because the success of La Valley Industries is so dependent on so many other people, from the employees that work hard and give us their best every day, to our wide arrangement of vendors that provide us with components for our equipment. And so to take a day, a year, and basically shut down operations and just have a big celebration and a big thank you party to all those folks that make our success possible is something that we look forward to every year. I love these awards. They're very nice, and they come with white gloves. So you can actually put on the white glove, I guess, when they hand out the award.
Maybe you'll just wear one.
That was Michael Jackson, not Prince.
Jason, I'll tell you. I think most of you know what I'm talking about, but I had a lot of fun in my career through the years, logging industry, forestry and stuff, but once I started with Jason, I went to another level. And he is, in this organization, everybody in the organization is just top notch. They just keep going like mad. And I know Jason's pushing him, Jordan's trying to slow him down a little bit, but it's just been a fun ride.
5 minutes later, I called him back up and I said, Mike, I can't do this without you. He goes, I know. So we marched forward. So thanks again, Mike. Thanks for believing in me.
This is just a day of celebration. We all live in a world that's all business related, and it's all about what have you done for me lately, right? And occasionally it's nice to take a pause, look at what's been done, appreciate the accomplishments of everyone in this room, and just have a good time. So hang out, run the excavator, visit with us. We're just happy to have you here, and again, thank you so much for coming out.
Coming up on See George Run. The candidates for mayor go head-to-head in live debates. League of Women Voters mayoral debate, Tuesday, October 21st, 7 p.m. at Bemidji City Hall. Bemidji High School mayoral debate, Thursday, October 23rd, 7 p.m. at the Bemidji High Media Center. Bemidji State University mayoral debate, Tuesday, October 28th, 6 p.m. at Hague Tower 100. Citizens for an Informed Electorate local debate, Thursday, October 30th, 7 p.m. at Bemidji City Hall.
As many of you are aware, there were a couple of homeless people that passed away this last week. And there's no doubt that as the weather gets colder, the challenges to finding shelter for those folks is going to be ever increasing. I'm pleased to be able to let you know that the Nameless Coalition has established a fund for helping the homeless this winter. It's being administered through the Northwest Minnesota Foundation, and if you would like to contribute to help make a difference in those folks' lives this winter, I would encourage you to contact them and make a donation.